This right here is one of the fastest land vehicles in the entire game, and luckily for us, we can use its speed to help us make free money. Welcome back to another episode of Billionaire's Beginnings. So to start off this episode, we will be purchasing this bike and getting the HSW upgrade for it, which means that we can significantly increase its speed and acceleration, making this thing go supersonic. So once we've purchased it for 1 million, it is now time to get the upgrade. And in order to get the upgrade, we actually have to first go to this location on the map, and we have to do a time trial. We have to beat How, who runs the How Special Works, or HSW, his lap time around the map in an HSW vehicle. Now, I will say, when I first tried out this car and we first got going with this time trial, I realized right away these HSW upgrades are no joke. But the traction on this car was god awful. Like, I'm surprised that How is still alive after driving this thing on the regular. I personally somehow managed to hit literally everything I possibly could. But we ended up surviving, and we did beat the part-time, unlocking the HSW upgrades for our vehicles, and our first one will be free. So now that we had done that, we went over to the LS car meet, brought in our bike, and went to the auto shop. So like I said, our upgrade is going to be completely free, which is great. That's saving us quite a bit of money. And you can see there in the stats section that the speed and acceleration went up quite a bit. That's a pretty big jump. But of course I wanted to keep the bike pretty balanced, so I also made sure to get upgrades for the brakes, the engine, and anything else that would allow this car to be an absolute demon on the streets. To wrap up the customization, I put on the light blue chameleon paint, which I just absolutely love. I will do for all of my HSW vehicles. We got that on, made it look great, and now it was time to put the bike to good use, and we are going to use it for a money method that I haven't done on this series so far, one that I've neglected for so long, one that I even haven't done in my own personal gaming for years. We're doing time trials. If you don't know what these are simple weekly challenges where we are given 2 points on the map and we have to get from one point to the next in a specified time. If you can complete it in the specified time or less, you will earn a money bonus. Now, there's going to be two in particular that we focus on. The first one being the regular time trial, and the second one being the HSW time trial. For the first one, the regular one, if we complete it, we will earn $100,000, and if we can complete the HSW time trial, we can earn $250,000. Now, these can be relatively difficult because of the terrain that we're going through. Sometimes it's across the entire map, but once we get the hang of things, it actually gets pretty easy, and this is probably going to be the easiest $350,000 we make all week. It's sort of crazy that I neglected these until now, but I'm glad I'm starting them now, making us some easy cash, and I suggest all of you guys watching to do the same if you haven't already. So like I said before, I haven't done these in a while, so my first time through on the regular time trial, we ran into a bit of an issue. And it actually took us a couple times trying this out to get it right. But luckily, I think this is going to be one of the easier time trials, at least one of the easiest ones I've seen in a while. And I got relatively lucky because even though I got knocked off my bike, we had enough time to take a bit of a shortcut, go through the garden because I'm used to that area from the Cayo Perico Heist setups, and was able to complete that time trial. And I think it took me maybe 4 or 5 attempts. Now, for the second time trial, it was much easier. The first time through, I was knocked off the bike. By the way, the Hakuchu drag is like, this thing moves or takes turns like it weighs 5,000 tons. Like, it feels so heavy, but it is so quick. So I haven't quite got used to the turning, was knocked off the bike, but my second time through, I actually used my head this time, and I made the route a little bit easier for myself. So we took a bit of a shortcut 2 different times, and of course we got there with just a bit of time to spare, but we still made it and made the $250,000. So right there, in about a 10-minute span, we made $350,000. So I'm really glad that I added these into the money grind, because stuff like this is really easy to forget about and just not do, even though it's some of the easiest money that we can be making in the game. So going forward, I will always make sure to do this stuff each and every week. Of course, these things change or they get refreshed every Thursday or the update day, so be on the lookout for when they do come out. So now that we had purchased our first ever HSW vehicle, I was now hooked. I wanted to see what are some of the other vehicles that we could buy that have this HSW upgrade and that may be fun to have in the game or possibly even useful. And the one that I stumbled upon was the Weaponized Infiniti. First off, this car regularly is gorgeous. Great design, but it's also one of the fastest cars you could get in the game. Naturally, I decided to purchase it for a whopping number and then go over to the LS car meet, purchase the HSW upgrades, all of the engine upgrades, everything that we needed to make this car super fast, and we took it out for a little spin. Now, like the name suggests, this is a weaponized car, so there's a few things we could do with it. First off, the cool thing about it is there is anti-lock-on jammers, so people who may be in oppressors, vigilantes, have homing launchers cannot lock onto us if we're in public lobbies, so that helps us out, similar to the Amani Tech vehicles. But it also has a minigun on the top of the car. Now, one thing I didn't realize before I bought it was that the range is pretty limited. I thought we could move the gun around just a little bit more than we actually could. So you could essentially only really shoot in your general direction forward. You can't shoot to the sides. You can shoot a little bit off to the side, but not much. And of course, you can't move the thing up and down. So you're essentially aiming with where your car is positioned rather than moving the gun around. I planned on trying this car out with stuff like the Super Dollar deal, where you have to take out the transporter and the convoy around it. But after figuring this out and trying it out, I think I'm just gonna stick to my oppressor. There's maybe one other vehicle I'd try, but for the most part, I think I'm just gonna stick to the stuff that I've been doing so far. I was hoping that maybe this would be a car that could help us out while also being one that was really fast. I'm sure it's fun in free mode or when playing with other players, but for a solo money grind, it really doesn't make that much sense. And that brings me to the next purchase I want to make, and we won't make it in this video, but we will work towards it. That is the Vigilante. I've seen this thing all over my comment section because people are raving about how good the lock-on missiles are with this car and how useful it could be for missions. Of course, stuff like the Super Dollar deal would be a great mission to use it for, a great contract to do with it, but also stuff like the finale for the High Society leak in the Dr. Dre contract, which we will be doing in future episodes. This would be great because you could take out everybody at the party a lot faster and take out the helicopter quickly. But of course, this car is very expensive and we don't have the money for it or the upgrades we need for it. So I decided to do some money grinding so that we could build up our cash. And instead of doing our normal money grind, the Cayo Perico heist and a Dr. Dre contract and all that jazz, we will do that in another video. But today I wanted to give more love to the things that I've neglected for some time. So the time trials was the first one. Now it's time to give some more love to the MC businesses. So I went and sold our Coca-Cola lockup for about $250,000, and we got so lucky because we only got one sell vehicle. So that made things very easy. It took us only 5 minutes to complete this mission, and that was it. So that was a good addition of money to our account. The next thing we did was an Acid Lab sale because we've had this thing restocked quite a few times. Now it is currently 1.5 times production speed this week, so make sure to take advantage of that because you can make a ton of money with the Acid Lab. And what I decided to do for this was risk it for the biscuit and sell in a full public lobby. Now, if you've been watching the series for a while, you know that the last time we sold in a public lobby, it went so poorly. But I thought because you're guaranteed one sell vehicle, there's a decent chance that we do okay. So I sold a full Acid Lab, which is normally $335,000 in a public lobby, so I could get the populated lobby sell bonus, which is a few percent per player, maxing out at 50%. So the max that we could sell a full Acid Lab for would end up being just over 500 grand. And luckily for me, I got the mission where you have to first go to a parking garage. There's going to be cops there to ambush you. All you have to do is just shoot on the first floor. The cops then get on you, you lose the cops. It's really easy. They don't chase after you or anything, or they don't aggressively chase after you. Lose the cops and then deliver it to a buyer. Although I should mention, right after starting up the mission, I did use Ghost Organization, which took me off the radar for all players for 3 minutes, because that would give me a bit of a head start for any potential griefers. But luckily for us, once again, we did complete the mission. We sold our stock for over 500 grand, and that brought us up to the amount that we need to buy our Vigilante. Now, we will not be buying it in this episode today. We will save that for the next episode, which will be a big money grind. We're gonna go for $10 million. We're gonna be using all of the tricks: Acid Lab, passive income businesses, Cayo, Perico, Heist, everything. So I'm excited for that. Let me know in the comment section down below any suggestions for future episodes, anything you want to see, and I hope you guys did enjoy this one. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.